we want to know dollars, right? That's going to be our last thing. And we're going to start with 800 miles. What can I change miles into? Do either of these two numbers have miles in them?
Miles per gallon.
43 miles per gallon, right? So what am I going to change miles into? Gallons, right? So 43 miles equals what? 1 gallon. Now look, I have miles on top right here and miles on bottom, so they cancel each other out. Okay? I'm always going to put the unit that I have on top right here on the bottom in the next step. That way it cancels. Okay? That's how I know, do I use 43 miles over 1 gallon or 1 gallon over 43 miles? Because here I want it to cancel what I had on top. Okay? If it was on top here, it's got to be on the bottom there. Fair enough? Okay. All right, so far we've converted miles into gallons. If you stop right here, it would tell you how many gallons of gas you're going to need. But that's not what the question asks, is it? The question asks, how much is it going to cost? So can we change gallons into dollars? Can we? Yeah. All we have to do now is use what? This right here. It tells me that 1 gallon is $1.76. Gallons now cancel, right? Top and bottom gallons cancel. So what's the unit that I have left now?
Dollars.
The unit I have is dollars, so that tells me that I probably did this problem correctly. Most likely. So what do we get? How much does it cost me to drive home? How much?
$32.70.
$32.70.
Oh, yeah, right.
800 times $1.76. Then divide by the denominator, which is 43. It's about $33. Close enough, right? Who can do this calculation? Truckers do this calculation all the time. It tells them how much money they're going to make, doesn't it? It tells them what their cost to run their truck is. The better mileage they get in their truck, the less it costs them to get there. The more they make, the more they put in their pocket. Okay? Does that make sense? Is this a good question? Anybody ever tried to do this before? You just go buy gas and it doesn't matter. It's a good calculation to do so that you know how much it's going to cost you to run your car every month. Because when the price of gas goes back up to $4 a gallon, I'm selling my truck. Because it only gets 14 miles a gallon. Right? Changes this a lot. It costs me 3 times as much to get home. Eesh. It's ugly, huh? Well, this isn't the only type of calculation you can do. Let's see, in the last class, we did a calculation with cooking. Anybody here cook? Like to cook? I love to cook. What do you like to cook? Anybody like to bake? No? Wow. How do you think you get to be this size without baking?
Exactly.
My mama taught me how to bake. I love to bake. My mom's German. She can bake up a storm. Carrot cake like you wouldn't believe.
There's a measure in baking.
You do need a measure in
You
baking.
should be very precise with your measurements.
See, I'm not a precise cooker. That's probably why I don't make.
We're going to be a lazy baker. Okay? We're going to be a lazy baker. Well, we're going to pretend to be real, but we won't be lazy. Well, who goes to church? No, authority. Let's say your church calls and they say, we're having a bake sale. Okay? And you're like, wow, that's cool. I like bake sales because you go buy good stuff. It's all homemade. And they want you to bake something. Well, Betty Jo's making this and Susie's making this. Can you make apple pies for me? Yeah, apple pies. I like an apple pie, especially when they're hot. That's good stuff. And you go, I'm not really feeling it, but for church, I'm going to do it. Let me go look and see what I have in the fridge and the freezer. Look, I'm going to be lazy. I got a whole bunch of frozen pie shells. So that makes my life easy. But I don't have any apples. And it's right now, it's the last week of the month, isn't it? I don't get paid to the first. And I need apples. Just put gas in my car. Mickey got all my money. I got $10. I'm gonna go buy apples. So the woman asks you, how many apple pies can you bring on Sunday for our bake sale? Okay? You got like 30 frozen pie crusts, so you're good with that. But you gotta go buy apples. And you got $10. How many pies can you make? That's a conversion problem, isn't it? You gotta convert dollars into apple pies. Let's think about it. What are some of the things we might need to know? So we want to take dollars and turn it into apple pies.
We need to know how many apples it takes to make one pie.
Apples per pie. Okay, so that gives us a unit. So one pie equals 4 apples. She got a skimpy pie. I like my pie.
It's like 6 to 8, I mean, depending on what size apple you're using. You're working 6 to 8 apples.
Are you short me on some apples over there? She probably don't even put butter in her apple pie. You put butter in your apple
I
pie?
don't even bake apple pie. I don't like baking. I'm not a dessert person.
Listen, apple pie is the easiest thing in the world to make. Apples, butter, cinnamon, brown sugar, a little bit of flour to bind it together. That's all I need. Y'all didn't know I knew all that, did you? See? All right, so one pie, we ain't eating tons of pie. We're gonna put 6 apples in our pie. How's that? Okay, so that would get us to pies. So somehow we gotta get somewhere over there to apples, don't we? We got dollars. How much does each apple cost? But if you go to the store, you don't buy apples by the piece, do you?
Price per pound.
You buy them by pound, don't you? So we might be able to convert dollars into pounds, right?
And then apples.
Well, wait a minute. We got to figure this one out first. How much do apples cost?
These are by the cheap ones.
$5.
For the pies.
I ain't
You
eating
only-
your pie either. Cheap apples and hardly any in there. That row right over there. Just get them. 2 bags for $10. What's in a bag? What if we did pounds? You can buy them loose too, can't you? Yeah, but you get to choose the apples that you get. You don't get a rotten one in there. I always buy mine loose because I don't trust those people. Go to farmer's market.
Farmer- that's where
Go
you
to
go.
farmer's market, you get good apples. So let's say that the price of apples is what? $1.79 a pound? Sound about right? About the same as gas. Gas equals apples. Almost, if you're gonna drive to the mountains and buy them. Okay, so let's say $1.79 is 1 pound. Are we there yet? No, we converted dollars to pounds. Somehow we gotta get over here, don't we? We gotta know how many apples are in a pound, don't we? What do you think? What if I said what if I told you that 1 apple was about 4 ounces?
4. Apples.
So, let's try. You got $10. What are we going to convert dollars into? Pounds, right? So, let's use this one. And it tells me what? $1.79 is 1 pound. right? And dollars cancels. Now, I want to use this other fact, but I have pounds and ounces, don't I? What do I do? Anybody here convert pounds to ounces?
16 ounces.
Thank you. I was just making sure you could talk, because it's so quiet over there. Okay? 16 ounces is 1 pound. And then what do we do?
Apples for ounces.
Yeah, then we got 4 ounces is 1 apple. We're almost there, huh? And then we're going to convert what? 6 apples is 1 pie. So how many pies can I make for $10? Assuming I have everything else at home. What do you think? Here's how you do it. Multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom, then divide the 2. Okay?
You made 3 pies.
How many?
3.
3?
Well, 3, yeah, because you can't make part of a pie.
What does it come out to? 2 point something?
3.72.
3.72? Can we round that to 4?
If you skimp on your
Maybe if you'd only use 5 apples. Maybe you do this calculation and you decide, well, I'm going to cut back on the apples so I can make 4 pies instead of 3, right? It tells you that, right? You don't have to cut back a lot. You cut back a little bit and you can make 4 pies instead of 3. In reality, you can only make 3 pies and you have some leftover apples. Okay? Does that make sense? Anybody ever thought of doing this kind of calculation? No. It works, doesn't it? Who do you think does this kind of calculation? Who do you think does that kind of calculation?
restaurant.
Think if you own a restaurant, you might want to know how much it costs you to make that apple pie? Dang right, you better know how much it costs to make that apple pie. And how much you can sell it for, right? Because you probably do want her working for you because she's going to skimp on the apples and you make more for pie, right? Or you might have the opposite idea. The better my pie is, the more apples I use, the more customers I get. I have a narrower profit margin, but I sell more pies. So it's right, different types of business models, okay? But they all do this calculation. They all know how many pies I can make for X amount of dollars of apples, okay? Fair enough? Well, these are kind of, these last 2 examples, I like to do them because I think they're, I know y'all gonna think this is crazy, a little bit fun because it applies to your everyday life, sort of, right? You kind of need to know how to calculate mileage, and you kind of need to know something about budgeting and doing this type of calculation like this. What about another type of calculation? You think it might apply in a dosage calculation? Okay. Let's think about it. In my last class, I used an example. My brother used to have a mastiff. Anybody know what a mastiff is? What a mastiff looks like? Big, huge dog. This dog weighed about 165 pounds. His name was Zeke. Ooh. Ask the question. How many tablets do you need to give Zeke? Zeke, rest his soul, no longer with us. Okay. We're all there? Sort of? So we want to wind up with tablets, right?